they told me when I left, we don't know how long you're going to be there. Just go and catch a good game. Don't worry about the offense. Just go do your thing defensively and hopefully don't come back.
Welcome to episode 357 of Alberta Dugout Stories, the podcast. I'm Joe McFarland. For the first time in 32 years, the Toronto Blue Jays are heading to the World Series. What an ALCS it was between the Blue Jays and the Seattle Mariners, going the distance in their best of seven. A tip of the cap to the Mariners on an outstanding battle. And now it's on to face the Los Angeles Dodgers. And it won't be a small feat, but there's a lot of excitement in baseball circles from coast to coast to coast in this country. If not for the Jays, then for the impact the team's performance invariably has on the grassroots levels, as more kids look to baseball as a dream that they can chase. I'll be diving more into it after the World Series is over here on the pod, and I've already started dreaming up another opinion piece for our websites in the next couple of weeks. The news cycle, meantime, is getting shorter and shorter as the season winds down completely for the winter. In the Western Canadian Baseball League, the Swift Current 57s have a new head coach after parting ways with Rudy Estrella a couple of weeks ago. Jared Franklin takes the reins as head coach and general manager. He has spent 26 years in coaching, including most recently with the University of Health Sciences and Pharmacy in St. Louis, where he launched a new NAIA program in 2022. He's coached 35 MLB drafted players, 5 of whom have made it to the show. On the commitment front this week, it's been a busy one with a few friends of the show and a quartet of big NCAA Division I signings. The University of Houston has taken a liking to the Dawgs Academy program, signing catcher Tay Thierman and pitchers Josh Mills and A.J. Rogers. Meantime, AHP rising star Gabe Fink goes to the University of Southern California. Elsewhere, AHP's Jaden Kane is heading to Midland Community College. His AHP teammate Cale Harsh will head to Garden City Community College. Ashton Crow of the Dawgs goes to Barton Community College. And a trio out of Badlands Academy as Aiden Anderson is set for Illinois Valley Community College, while both Brant Spencer and Carson Pearl head to USC Lancaster. Big congratulations to all of the Alberta and Saskatchewan talent who took part in the Baseball Canada Women's National Team Development Camp in the U.S. They will continue to fine-tune over the winter as they get ready for the 2026 season. On deck now is the Baseball Canada Junior National Team Dominican Camp. Several Albertans are on that roster, as well as Saskatchewan's Aiden Kilshaw. We'll be looking to touch base with a few of the Team Canada athletes after this latest trip wraps up. Big congratulations to all of the winners of last weekend's Baseball Sask Annual Awards. The two big ones were for male and female players of the year. This year's recipients were Taylor Schweller and Kane Kaufman. We're planning a special episode of the show in the next couple of weeks, as well as a full story on our site to celebrate the occasion. On to this week's guest now, and it's admittedly been a while since we last caught up with Oyen's Gavin Logan. After being selected in the 9th round of the 2022 MLB Draft by the Arizona Diamondbacks, it's been a roller coaster couple of years as he's tried to make a name for himself. The Dawgs Academy and Okotoks Dawgs alum had a breakthrough of sorts this year, starting the season with the High-A Hillsboro Hops before getting an unexpected call to the Triple-A Reno Aces. He made the most of that week-long promotion, then went back to Hillsboro, then returned to Reno where he hit 3 home runs in 3 games and was a steady presence behind the plate. The 25-year-old then finished out the season with the Double-A Amarillo Sod Poodles. All told, he hit .233 with 8 homers and 31 RBI in 64 games. It was a productive season that Logan hopes will help cement himself as an option for the Diamondbacks heading into 2026. Gavin, welcome back to the show. Thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me on again.
Talk about frequent flyer miles this season, splitting it between 3 levels, including AAA. We'll get to that in a second, but I want to ask first off, how's the jet lag?
It's good now. I will say, like the last couple of weeks of the regular season, when I was down in Double-A Amarillo, I was ready to come home whenever we were done. Obviously, like we made the playoffs and played in the playoffs, but I was definitely ready to come home whenever the end of the season came about and just kind of hang out in the middle of nowhere on the farm for a little while and just kind of be by myself and with the family. So it's been good. It's been good.
Glad to hear it. I know the numbers kind of speak for themselves on the year that you had, but looking back on it, how happy are you with your performance at the 3 different levels?
Well, it was definitely, it kind of honestly shocked me a little bit. there was definitely a lot of changes made last year, like offensive-wise, my swing and kind of mindset stuff in the off-season, and it was really nice to see some of it pay off. Obviously, there's still a long way to go, but it was really, really cool to see, and then that opened some doors with, unfortunately, some injuries and upper levels, and it allowed me to move up and move down and move back up and kind of go all over the place, so it was really cool.
Mm-hmm. Walk us through some of those adjustments, some of those mindset changes that maybe you wanted to incorporate to allow you to have some success.
I think that one of the biggest things, like my first couple of years in pro ball, was like trying to figure out like just kind of how I was going to go about it, because the off seasons are definitely way different in pro ball compared to college, and there was not a whole bunch of things, like nothing really major, just a few like tweaks here and there with some setup stuff, which allowed me to just be a little more free with my hands and be a little more direct to the ball. And obviously, like, it happens all the time. Like, it's always up and down. Like, that's just how the season is, and that's kind of how the off season will be too. And the last year in the off season, there was definitely the first like couple weeks, like going through and working on stuff with one of the coaches I had the year before, where I was kind of working with him just over FaceTime, and would have him on the phone going through some little drills and stuff, just to be wary of what he really thought he could help me with.
Mm-hmm.
And it was really good for a little while, and then I kind of hit a little roadblock, and it didn't look like it was going in the right direction. He just told me I just gotta, I mean, you've heard it probably a million times, but just trust the process of it. And from there, it got a little better, kept getting a little better, and definitely helps with last off season. I worked with Matt Loy a lot. Him and I hit together the last, I don't know, 3 off seasons,
mm-hmm.
4 off seasons, something like that. And Tristan Peters was actually back in town in Okotoks, and he's, as a lot of people know, probably one of the best hitters to ever come out of that academy. And I graduated with him, and he's thinks about stuff a lot differently than a lot of guys, so it's always really good to bounce things off him, and just see what he thought, because he's really, really smart with the swing stuff. So
mm-hmm.
I think that really helped, just having those guys around to always have an eye on each other, and I think that was a big part of it, honestly.
Talk about the catching side of it as well. I love getting into the mindset piece of, having to manage, especially you bouncing around this year a little bit, trying to get a grip of like who you're catching on a day-to-day basis and who's got what kinds of stuff, and trying to tap into everybody's mentality going into games. How do you prepare, and how do you go about your business when you've got so many different arms that you don't really necessarily get a chance to know them on a frequent enough basis kind of thing?
Yeah, it was definitely a lot of adjustments, and then they had to be very fast. I would say, like, a lot of the guys I played with in, like, the recent years I was drafted with, or maybe drafted before or just after me, I've caught them a lot, and a lot of them were actually in Double-A, and I started in High-A, so I wasn't with a lot of them. But honestly, the biggest adjustment I had to make was, like, when I went back to High-A, I didn't really know a lot of those guys very well right away.
Mm-hmm.
I had to make some big adjustments with them. But moving up to, like, Triple-A and stuff, like, it is, like, I have heard it for years, and yes, I've noticed it from going from college to pro ball, but they're, like, guys in Triple-A, and the further you go up in the levels, like, it should almost be, like, easier to catch them.
Mm-hmm.
The only thing that gets maybe a little bit more difficult is just calling games, because obviously the hitters are pretty elite. But I had caught a lot of those guys that were in Triple-A or in Double-A before, at least a handful of times. There was 2 guys up there in Reno, actually, that I was drafted with, and I've caught, one guy's left-handed, and I caught him a lot our first full year, and then caught him a good amount last year, I guess. So I caught them a couple times, and that definitely brought some comfort. I think when I first went up there, because I caught one of them my first game up there, and I think that actually helped calm me down a little bit. I was maybe a little bit nervous, but it's definitely very interesting, just like the different levels and how the different things you have to think about behind the plate. Just because you can get away with some things like at the lower levels, and then the higher you go up, you have to be very, very stingy and really think out a lot of the decisions behind the plate, of whether that's just calling pitches or how you go about attacking guys the first time through or second time through, third time through. And it actually was really eye-opening to me. It was when I went to Reno the first time, and when I was there the second time, we had a lot of injuries in our org pitching-wise this year. And so we had signed a lot of like free agent minor leaguers and a lot of guys that had been in the big leagues for like a number of years. And I guess you probably know like Sean Reed Foley, Trevor Richards, Anthony Ghost. I played with all three of them, and that was really, really cool to see, just because I remember like growing up and coming through high school, and they were almost to the big leagues with the Blue Jays, and so you would always see stuff on them, and then getting to have conversations with them and catch them, and they were really, really good to talk to, not just about baseball, like on the field stuff, but just like the life that they've had with their career, and it was really interesting to see.
Very cool. As mentioned, you've started the year in Hillsboro. Then in the middle of June, it rolls around, and you get told you're moving up not one level, but two. Walk us through what's going on in your mind as that conversation's had.
It was kind of crazy. It really caught me off guard, because we had just, like, I want to say 2 weeks before I got moved up there, we had a guy retire in Double-A, and we moved one of the other guys I was with in High up to Double-A. And so I figured, it's like somebody got hurt in Double-A, like they need me to go up there and just kind of fill in for a little while that guy's hurt, or maybe, I don't know, whatever they were doing up there. And then they told me, no, you're going to Reno, you're going to Triple-A. And I was like, I just kind of laughed. I didn't think they were serious. I thought they were just messing with me. And it was a very, very cool experience just to be around guys like that. And I went to, the first place I went to was El Paso. So that is quite an interesting place. Very, very hot. And it was really, really fun. I tried not to like think too much about it, not put too much pressure on it, because basically all they told me when I left, we don't know how long you're going to be there. Just go and catch a good game. Don't worry about the offense. Just go do your thing defensively, and hopefully don't come back.
It's a weird juxtaposition that way, isn't it?
Yeah, very weird.
That's awesome, though. And then not only that, you had a little bit of success that first time around with Reno. You end up, the first game as a starter, you get a double, a couple of RBIs. Things are going well. You end up back at Hillsboro for a bit, and then you get called back to Reno in mid-July and respond by hitting 3 homers in 3 days. What's going through your mind as that is all happening?
Honestly, I think I said, one of my friends actually from home brought it up. He said something like, because I had an interview in Reno, a post-game interview, and he said you could have showed a little more like of your character in the interview. And I was like, oh, well, I really had no idea. I think they asked me like, what's going on with your swing, or did you make some adjustments up here because you seem to be doing really well? And I basically I didn't have anything to say. I said, I have no idea. I just know the ball flies here a little bit more. But I really had no idea. I just kind of kept going about my day, like my routine, and just the same as I was when I was in High-A, and it was going well. And then eventually those like older guys in Triple-A and a lot of guys that have been in the big leagues, they figured out the weaknesses, and they started to get on me a little bit. But it was very, very interesting just to see like the different kind of pitching that is done, like how perfect they can be and how they can put the ball where they want it to be at just about every time. And there's like, I kind of just said, I was asked by one of the coaches, like, what are you looking for? And I just kind of said, I'm looking in a certain area and I'm looking kind of a certain speed. And if it's there, I'm going to swing. But if it's not, I just try to be like almost extra picky, I guess is a better way of putting it. Because I knew like they're hopefully going to throw it in the zone I was looking for. And if they did, I'd take my shot and try and hit it hard somewhere. And if not, just take it. Because I did notice the ABS system, the zone is way smaller than you think it is.
I can only imagine. Talk us through landing in Amarillo and the first time in Double-A, because there's a familiar face waiting for you in that dugout, Jordan Procession. What's that like, getting to see him and get to renew acquaintances, so to speak?
It was awesome. I mean, as you know, lots of people know, I've worked with him lots, and when I was in high school, and he was with the Red Sox in his playing days, and when I found out last off season that he had an opportunity to coach in our system, I was very excited, probably more excited than he was, just to have him around, especially just in spring training, because we have a very, very good catching coordinator in our organization, and also have pro in the system with us is huge. And when he told me he got the job, I was just hoping and praying that I would at some point, if not right at the start, at some point be with him in Double-A. And 5-6 weeks, maybe 7 weeks that I was with him, it was definitely awesome to have him around. He's really, really good at developing the defensive catchers in all aspects.
That is awesome. Out of curiosity, what's he like as a coach now that he's away from the game as a player? Because before you had him as a player coach, but now he gets to be the bench coach in Amarillo.
I would say a lot of guys that probably had him coach in high school. He's used to be kind of hard nosed. I would say he's still pretty hard nosed, but I think with the kids now that he has, he's not as hard nosed as he was. But now he's really awesome. He's very, very like every small detail matters, which it does in the game of baseball, and it really is nice to have someone that's always like, he'll always have something to tell you. You'll always notice something, like whether you caught an inning, you came in defensively as a replacement, or you caught the whole game. He'll always have something basically ready for you when you come in the dugout, or the next day you'll talk it over, and there's lots of things that you could pick apart and work on the next day, whether I'm playing or not. So it's always nice to have somebody like that, somebody that I know so well and that I've known for this long too.
Absolutely. You mentioned the ABS system, and I wanted to ask you about that a little bit. As a catcher, do you like it? Do you hate it? Have you do you view it as a tool now? How do you see the ABS system?
I do like it. I would say when it first kind of came out, I was a little skeptical about it. Like, is it going to hurt like the receiving game of the catchers and all this other stuff? And like they're just going to go for catchers that are super offensive now. And no, I really don't think it's going to change it that much. I did use it one time. I got it wrong, but it was close. And it's you have to be kind of picky on when you're going to use it. There's kind of some strategy to it, because you don't want to, you only get 2 a game, right? And you get them both wrong, like you don't have any more. So you have to be very stingy on when you use them. Like big situation on defense, like probably go ahead and use it. But after I messed up the one challenge, I don't think I challenged one after that. I just let the pitchers do it. The guys that have been there and been using it for the last couple of years, like they seem to know it a little bit better, obviously. But no, I do like it. I think it is going to be a good thing. It definitely brings, you have to think a little bit more when you're back there too. Like, oh, maybe that did clip it. Because if it clips at all, it's a strike. So it can really change the game.
For sure. It's been a while since you and I last chatted. In fact, I think it was back when you were first drafted. And so the pro journey has taken some turns over the last few years here. Looking back on it, what's taken you by surprise the most? Or is there something where you kind of had to go, oh, whoa, I didn't necessarily expect that over the pro journey?
I would say, like, the biggest thing was, like, right after I was drafted, I did pretty decent right away when I was sent to High-A in Hillsboro. And I didn't really realize how it can really suck at times.
Mm-hmm.
I noticed you talked to Garrett Hawkins last week, or maybe a couple weeks ago now, but like he went through TJ, missed a whole season, and was the best pitcher in the Padres org this year. Who I actually faced him. I didn't face him. We faced him, them, and I didn't actually get the hit off of him. But yeah, he looked really good. But I'm sure he probably talked about there's a lot more struggle, and like it's tough a lot of the time that a lot of people probably don't realize. And but when it goes really well, it's like you're kind of on top of the world. Like it feels like nothing else like really matters, I guess, in a way. And it's super, super cool. But a lot of the time, like there's so many things that can go wrong in the pro season or pro career. And I would just say that's the most interesting thing that I've noticed. Like after seeing like a couple of guys that I was drafted with get released this last year, like you really don't have as much time as you think you do.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's tough to not like get caught up in that. So I would say just trying to kind of focus your mind on just each day is all you can really do, and just try and make an impact and be of value to the team or the organization, however you may do that. So, and that's the best way to stick around.
For sure. On the flip side of that, looking back on it to this point, any favorite memories or personal highlights you've had during your pro journey so far?
I will say this year this was probably all the highlights. I will say last year at the end of the year when I was in High-A, and I think I hadn't played a whole lot last year towards the end of the year, so it was kind of like coming into my mind like, well, like how much longer do I want to do this and that, and I caught the last like 16 of 18 games or something like that, and then kind of came into this year like hoping to play, like obviously I'm not going to play that much because that's pretty crazy. 5 games a week is a lot to catch, especially for 5-6 months straight. But this year, like going up to Triple-A, having the success I did was definitely one of the coolest things I think would be a part of my career so far. I don't know, the Grand Slam against the Dodgers Triple-A affiliate was pretty cool. But yeah, no, it was definitely, I think just some of that time up there. And then obviously, like I said earlier, making the playoffs for the first time in our pro career. Unfortunately, we lost 2 straight, but it was definitely a cool environment to be a part of, like an actual playoff team in pro baseball. Hadn't really come close to that in the first few years of pro ball, so it was definitely really fun.
For sure. Riding a couple of personal highs, obviously, heading into this offseason now. What are you being tasked with to work on during this offseason, or what are you hoping to accomplish so you can enter 2026 on the best of terms?
Oh, I think there's definitely like always stuff that's going to be kind of on my mind to work on. I think the biggest thing is defensively, I just need to work on some throwing stuff, not really arm strength stuff, but just getting rid of the ball quicker, throwing more guys out. And that's been really the main goal defensively. Offensively, I think just figuring out a way to just become more consistent. I mean, that's kind of the name of the game with hitting. It's just to be as consistent as possible, and you're going to find success if you can do that. So just trying to tinker with a few things and try and find something or a new, just something similar to what I've been doing, but maybe figure out something that just helps with that, and just hit the ball hard on a more consistent basis is always something I'm looking for.
Absolutely. Any goals or expectations of yourself heading into 2026?
Definitely want to be back in Amarillo. I'm hoping Pro is also there. I'm not really sure what the org has planned for him yet, but that would be big to do that. And then obviously I want to get back to Reno as fast as I can, and hopefully can go do well early in the year and hopefully earn a promotion up there. But that is definitely the goal, to get up to Reno, and then definitely I'll want to be a big leaguer. Everyone that's doing it wants to be a big leaguer, so got to find a way to get up there.
Have you allowed yourself to get thinking about that possibility or about that phone call? Because they talk about it all in Triple-A. It's like your one injury or one bad performance from somebody above, and all of a sudden you're getting that. Have you allowed yourself that opportunity yet, or is it still like, no, focus on the day-to-day for right now?
I would say there's maybe like 1 or 2 days when I was in Reno, the second time when I was there for like a month or so. Yeah, maybe 2 instances where I was talking to a couple of my teammates that were pitchers, rehab and stuff, and they were just like, you just never know, man. Like, if you keep doing well for like 10, 15 more games a month or so, like, someone gets hurt, like, you might go up there. Like, if they trust you, they're going to move you up there to cover that. And that's the first time it really kind of like was in my mind that, it's actually possible, like, soon. And other than that, it's just kind of just try and stay as locked in to as possible as where you are, and just try and focus on what's going on in the day-to-day. Like I said earlier, it just kind of takes like the stress and extra pressure off of your mind, because worrying about the other stuff that you can't really control, it doesn't go very well for you. It kind of just distracts you on the field and off the field too.
For sure. Final question for you, Gavin, and then we'll let you get back to some quiet time around the farm. How much fun did you have playing ball over the course of this last year in particular? Because it sounds like you're in a real good place in terms of how you're feeling about your performance and performing, and how you're feeling about where you're entering the year.
I would definitely say, like, this year kind of opened up my mind a little bit more than it probably was in the last couple of years. There's definitely been some times, I'm pretty sure just about everybody I've played with or everyone that's been through it has kind of been in the same spot, where there's been like times where like, I don't know, like if I don't do well, or if I'm not here at this point, like, I don't know if I want to keep playing. And like, that's always going to jump into your head if stuff isn't going well. And then this year, with the success I did have at times, it definitely helped like keep my mind in it a little bit more, I would say. It definitely helped with that. I will say that.
For sure. Well, Gavin, always a pleasure getting a chance to catch up with you. Congratulations on the success you had in 2025, continued success in 2026 and beyond. And again, thanks so much for joining us here on the show.
Appreciate it. Thanks for having me again.
Thanks again to Gavin Logan for joining us this week, and thanks to all of you for downloading and listening. If you like this or any other episode, make sure to leave us a rating and review on your podcast app, and don't forget to hit subscribe, as we have new episodes every Thursday and have some special ones in production right now. A tip of the cap to our Platinum supporters, the Okotoks Dawgs, Under the Lights Sports and Entertainment, and the Western Canadian Baseball League, for all they do for us and for the game in Alberta. For more on our amazing teammates, head to albertadugoutstories.com/supporters. Until next time, thank you for all of your support online, on social, and on air of Alberta Dugout Stories.